Welcome to the Driver's Line. I'm Greg.
And I'm Jordan.
And today, we've got a conversation for you.
And our conversation is about the unsung hero of the car, the seat.
That's right. Where do you rest your butt when you're enjoying your car? Do you want something cushy? Do you want something supportive? Do you want something that's got the lateral support you need in a vehicle?
Exactly. So Greg and I picked a few vehicles that we think have outstanding features, whether it's comfort or support.
Yeah, or all of the
Or all
above.
of the above.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to kick it off with one of the best seats of all time, and it comes from a Speed. So our friends at Volvo, when they made their performance Volvos before the whole Polestar thing, they made an S60R and a V70R, and they actually put some of the best seats in any car full stop in these things at any price point. Like, you can even find a better seat in this Volvo than you'd find in a Rolls Royce at the same time, because it offered comfort, it offered lateral support. It's something that you could wheel in and still feel comfortable.
I think that's a great pick. I also chose Volvo, but I went with the XC90 because that is one that I'm very familiar with, as we've driven them a few times. And I'm with you. Like, I think Volvo pays a lot of attention to that. I think part of it is from their safety heritage, because holding the person in the correct position is important. But I have to agree with your call out there with the R series, because you don't think about Volvo with performance cars and having supportive seats. And a lot of times, like, you get into a performance car and they don't do a great job with the bolstering. And Volvo did a great job with comfort and bolstering.
I know, it felt like a lazy boy from a comfort perspective, but then when you were actually going around turns, like, it held you where you needed to be. It was just one of the best seats, full stop. Didn't really want to start with one of the best, but it kind of did. Yeah. Just because it's really the first one that always has come to mind for me. Is just such an excellent seat. And I remember sitting in that at auto shows as a kid and being like, wow, what a great seat. Then I drove one and I was like, wow, this does what it's supposed to do. And just kind of moved on, and just still sits in the back of my mind as one of the best seats.
I think it's a great pick. Absolutely. For my next pick, I am going domestic, actually. And it's from a brand that we're all fans of, and that is Cadillac, but not a more recent Cadillac. I will say they're very comfortable too. But the one that really stands out to me is the Sigma-based Cadillac. So we're talking about first generation CTS, SRX. It's not really something that people think about with those vehicles, because I think styling is primarily the first thing that sticks out, because they're just so different from the cars before them. Yeah. But they did a great job actually providing a seat that was comfortable. I will say the bolstering wasn't the best, but Cadillac at the time, that's comfort. And those seats were very supportive, but also comfortable to sit in. And I think when you're thinking about a Cadillac, that's really important. And at the time, vehicles like Volvo's XC90 were very popular, and so they benchmarked these seats in order to compete, and I think they did a great job with them.
They did, and even if you did want the bolstering, then you could step up to the CTS-V, right? And so you still had that nice comfort level, but with a little bit more bolstering if you did want to kind of wheel it through the twisties. And again, that original CTS-V is one of the best vehicles ever made. Absolutely love it. Nothing like a manual transmission sedan with a Corvette engine in the hood. So no, wonderful call out. Again, in the SRX, nice and cushy, but like in the CTS-V, it's a little bit different.
Absolutely.
So my next choice is also from a domestic brand.
Okay.
And it's a little bit more modern than that, because this is something that they are currently doing. I'm talking about the Lincoln 30-way seats.
Ooh.
30-way seats,
nice.
My friends. This is something that you can get yourself in any position you want and ride in supreme comfort. You think of a lot of the, performance German cars give you that thigh extension, right? They give you just one.
Very nice.
The Lincoln gives you two. Ooh. You can individually extend your thighs in that Lincoln 30-way seat. If you can't get comfortable in this seat, you're doing something wrong, because you have so much configuration that you can do. And of course, then it comes with heated, cooling, massaging, all the fun features. But this seat just has so many different things that you can manipulate to make sure that you're going to be in the most comfortable position for you. And then also from like a long trip standpoint, so if you're in like your Navigator doing a long haul, you can also change your position as time goes on to make sure that your body doesn't get, in a situation where you're going to be seated in the same, perspective for too long.
For sure. That's a great pick. I think those seats really are like a feature on their own that, like, other vehicle manufacturers, like, how do they do that?
Yeah. I think the only other one that does 30-way is the S-Class, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. Yeah. That's pretty insane. Yeah, I think that's a great call out. I would love to have a pair of those.
I know, right? Sure. I just want one as an office chair.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on. Give me a seat out of a Navigator and I'll put it on a roller. I don't. I probably don't want to see actually how much they cost.
That would cost.
You have to run like a power outlet.
Someone will buy it. Someone will buy it.
Yeah.
Have a rechargeable battery.
I know.
If you sell these, Lincoln, just remember who
Let us,
talked.
yeah, exactly. Give us credit. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, so my next pick is from a car that's no longer in production, but it comes from a brand that I'm very fond of, and that's Volkswagen.
Oh, of course.
And I'm going with the Volkswagen Arteon. So this vehicle was really designed to be a long cruise GT four-door sedan with a hatchback, which is really interesting to me alone. But sitting in the back seat of this is actually quite... I'm staying away from the front seats right now. I'm sure they're very comfortable, but the back seat really stands out to me in this car because there's so much legroom, but it's combined with a seating design that actually is very comfortable, but also supportive. And I think it's hard to get that combination just right. Sometimes the seats are just too firm, sometimes they're too soft, but the Arteon does a great job of giving you support and space without costing $1 million. The car isn't that expensive, especially in the used market now. So I think that in that realm, I think the Arteon does a great job of elevating it to a luxury level for a price that's actually pretty affordable when you think about its competitors like Toyota and Honda, where Honda has a decent amount of space, Toyota's okay, but it's really kind of average. This feels a little bit elevated to me.
Yeah, I mean the Arteon was top to bottom a great product.
Yeah.
It just was the wrong time and the wrong price, right?
Yeah.
It was just a couple of things kind of working against it in the winds, but they put a lot of effort into trying to elevate that package, right? And the seats were one of them, right? So really comfortable seats. And the rear seats, I think, if I recall, they were kind of like Panamera Light, right? Exactly. It was almost like an individualized experience for each side. So it was definitely a unique situation. All right, so my next choice is another American, believe it or not, but an American with an Australian accent. And so I'm talking about the 2004 to 2006 Pontiac GTO, which was the Holden Monero rebadged for the United States. These seats were exceptional. It's for an American car at the time, especially. Today's, I would say even today they're still good seats, but thinking back to 2004, which God, it was 20 years ago. These seats were exceptional.
Yeah,
they were something that you didn't see in any other American car at the time. They were very similar actually to, I would say, the Volvo S60R, V70R seats. Cushy but supportive. A lot of adjustment, things of that nature, and were nice to look at as well. So to find these in a domestic car at the time was one of the biggest surprises, which is part of the reason why it was actually a Holden.
All right.
Yeah.
Domestic light.
Yeah. Exactly. So something that was unique for Americans, and the car really felt elevated as a result of these seats and some of the other elements that kind of combined to make it. But just a really nice feature on those cars: cushy, supportive, lateral support, everything you need.
Yeah, and they came in fun colors.
Yeah. You get them in red.
Yeah.
Blue, right?
Blue.
Yeah. Just unbelievable that, GM at the time was kind of boring and they actually did this, right? And so, while the car didn't have the most exciting wrapper, it had a lot of interesting, unique features, and these seats were one of them.
I couldn't agree more. I think sitting in that car really drove home the point that it was almost too nice to be a GTO.
It kind of was, right? And but it also kind of drove home, saying, GTO's Gran Turismo Homologado, right? So it drove home that whole Grand Touring theme of the vehicle. It was phenomenal Grand Tour, and it didn't really speak to necessarily what you thought of a GTO, but it wasn't too far off.
Absolutely. I think that's a great pick for sure. Well, my next pick is a bit more pedestrian, I would say. It's from a brand that gets a really bad rap, but I think they actually have a good rap on their seats, and it's Nissan and Sentra, actually.
And Altima.
Yeah, they're all pretty similar.
Yeah, they put these seats in all of them.
Yeah, it's those zero gravity seats. They do a great job. They're very comfortable, but also are very, very affordable cars. So you don't have to spend Rolls Royce money to sit in comfortable seats.
Yeah, these are actually just a unique seat. They kind of designed them with NASA-inspired technology, and the goal was to try to give you a natural posture, right? And they call them their zero-G seats. They're really interesting just in the fact that they don't look special, but until you sit in one, then you'll find out it's actually extremely comfortable. So all these people racing around you in Altimas doing Altima things actually have really comfy seats in them. I actually had a coworker who would intentionally get an Altima for his road trips because he enjoyed the seat so much and knew that when he was going to get out of that car, he was going to be comfortable.
Yeah, I have to say, like in traveling, I get a lot of rental Nissans. It does happen, but I'm never let down by their seats. I think that if that is something that's important to you, certainly no harm in checking out a Nissan vehicle.
No, not at all. And so, yeah, I mean, folks with, back issues, sciatica, things of that nature, these seats might actually help, some of your issues that you have. And so it's definitely a worthwhile look.
100%. All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed our episode on those comfy seats.
Yeah. From our comfy seat to yours, let us know what you think we might have missed. We'd be interested to hear about it in the comments.
Thanks so much for watching.
We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us on The Driver's Line.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe to make sure you don't miss a thing.